Good morning. Today is June 23rd, 2026. It's about 10 a.m., and I'm about to attempt a speed run of the LA Metro rail system. And I'm starting right here at North Hollywood Station. Wish me luck. So I've known about transit speedrunning for a long time, but I never considered doing it myself until I saw this video. And I have to give this guy credit for inspiring me to give it a try because I saw this video and I thought, yeah, I could do better than that. A transit speedrun is exactly what it sounds like. Just like a video game speedrun, the aim is to complete the whole thing, in this case, a transit system, as fast as possible. The way this is measured with a transit system is by seeing how long it takes you to visit every station in a given system at least once. Not that long ago, a speedrun on Metro Rail would have entailed just going out to the end of a line and then back and then out on another line and then back and then out and back. Not very exciting. But after the completion of the regional connector and the K line, the system became more complex, which meant some degree of strategy was now required to speed through it, which suddenly made it a lot more appealing to transit speedrunners. This is Katz, a transit speedrunner from the Bay Area who has done multiple runs of the BART system. In late 2024, he speedran the LA Metro rail system. This was after Aviation Century Station opened, but before the LAX Transit Center, so the K line wasn't quite completed yet. His final time was 8 hours and 25 minutes, which set the bar for what a decent LA Metro speedrun looks like.
8 hours, 25 minutes, and 3 seconds. That is a new LA Metro Speedrun world record, everyone.
Okay, so I'm gonna be pedantic and kind of a buzzkill here, but adding "rilled record" to your attempt doesn't actually signify anything. There aren't different divisions of Metro Rail speedruns. There's only a few people out there who would even bother to do this, and we're all competing for the same record. You either hold the record or you don't. I should probably mention that there is a subcategory of LA Metro Speedrun that includes the orange and silver lines, but I'm not going to be doing this for reasons. Katz's attempt was the first to get substantial attention, but it wasn't the first LA Metro speedrun. Back in early 2023, a fellow named Freddie did his own speedrun, which took 11 hours. But Freddie himself admits that he didn't plan out his run very carefully.
My strategy was certainly not optimal. I'm sure some clever people out there could figure out itineraries that take advantage of the shortest transfer windows. It would also help to start earlier in the day so you're not going to wait as much on the late night, less frequent headways.
So we'll give it an honorable mention, but it wasn't a competitive attempt. There might be other speed runs that happened before this, but if there are, I haven't been able to find evidence of them. Katz's record has since been broken multiple times. There's a website called transitruns.org, which serves as a leaderboard and a more centralized database to keep track of this stuff. After the LAX Transit Center opened, a speedrunner named Odyssey Fan, along with a friend, beat Katz's time with an 8-hour, 3-minute run. A couple of months later, Odyssey Fan came back with a couple more friends and beat their own time, coming in at 7 hours, 38 minutes. I would really like to know how they pulled that off, but there doesn't seem to be any video posted of that run, so All right, then keep your secrets. The leaderboard resets every time new stations open, since there's now more of the system to complete. So after the Pomona extension opened, we had the duo of Chris and Tyler, who came in at 8 hours and 5 minutes. And just 10 days later, we had another duo, Ian Chu and Tiny Hands, who beat it with a just barely sub 8 hour run. And that stood as the record until the D-Line extension opened, which reset the board. As the system continues to expand, a sub 8 hour run is becoming increasingly out of reach. But I'm still hopeful I can pull it off. It's just going to require some careful planning and a fair amount of luck. So, how do you plan out a transit speedrun anyway? By the way, you can actually buy a copy of this map if you want, because we sell them on our Etsy store. It's a little pocket sized guide to the LA Metro explaining how to use the system and all the fun places you can explore using transit. It's geared towards people who don't know how to use transit in LA, so if you know someone like that, this can be a handy way to ease them into it. Buy yours today down in the link in the description. Okay, so the main thing I learned planning this out is that you want to try to avoid backtracking as much as possible. Now, a certain amount of backtracking is inevitable on the LA Metro. It's just kind of how the system is laid out, but you want to try to minimize it. Remember, you only need to visit each station once. So, practically, what this means is that you want to start and end on the longest isolated segments of the system, since starting or ending on them means you only have to do them once. The longest one is obvious. It's the stretch of the A line north of Union Station. Doubling back here means adding over an hour to your time, so it's a clear endpoint. Okay, so if that's where you're ending, then where do you start? Freddie and Katz both started in Long Beach, and at first glance, this makes sense. The stretch between Willowbrook and Long Beach is the second longest isolated segment of the system. The problem with starting in Long Beach is that even if you don't have to double back along the outer segment of the line, you wind up having to backtrack on the inner portion of the line later on, which basically negates all your time savings. You also run into this problem if you start in Santa Monica. So after studying Katz's run, I decided to start in North Hollywood instead. And I'm in good company because all of the runs since Katz seem to have used NoHo as their other endpoint. The two that have video footage posted started in Azusa or Pomona and finished in NoHo, but I decided to do it the other way around. From there, I just had to plan out a run that would minimize the number of transfers I'd have to make. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out a more efficient way to knock out all the downtown stations. Okay, so what the last speedrunners did is they came down the A line all the way through downtown, and then they came back on the E line and went to East LA, and then they went to the regional connector a third time, and then walked over to Civic Center and then did that. That's too much backtracking. I don't want to do that. So, what if I start here, and then we go here, and then I go down there and then back, but then I have to go back here. No. Okay, well, what if I no. Okay. Well, what Katz did was he took a bus to Pico and then went to here and then out and then here and then walked to Grand and then did that and then that and that and that and that and that. But at last, I mapped out a run that I decided would give me the best chance at a record time.
Starting from where we are, we go 33,600 turbo miles due up. Then west in an astro-arc deviation to here. Then, following the Great Circle, 7 radio loops south by down east. By Astrobo to here, here, and here. Then by Space Navigo compass to here, here, and then to here, and here. By 13-point stratocumulus bearing 4 million light years, and thus to our destination.
And now, I just have to actually do it. for this endeavor, I've got myself a handy little stopwatch that will help me keep track of my time.
The doors are closing.
Here we go.
This train's final destination is Union Station in downtown LA.
And now it's time to head to the purple line to La Cienega. My experience with Metro is already paying off because at Hollywood and Vine, for some reason, someone while coming out pulled one of those emergency stop release knobs over the door and left it like that, and the doors weren't closing. And so I ran up and tucked it back in so the train could move, which maybe make my connection. Yay! So for this first leg, I'm at 23 minutes now. And something I should mention is that I did also start a stopwatch on my phone as a backup. But I'm also using my phone as my camera, so I can't show you that. But I started that exactly 30 seconds after this, so that if something happens to this, I still have my time recorded. Well, I got a few moments. I might as well take a moment to admire the art. And now I'm back on the same train, waiting to head downtown. All right, we are here at Civic Center, and this is where I'm turning around to go back to 7th Metro. Oh, heck yes. Came like immediately.
To Santa Monica, upstairs are platform 2 and the Metro J line to Harbor Gateway and San Pedro outside.
Oh, okay, fantastic. 2 minutes to Long Beach. So far, I've been pretty lucky with the transfers. And I'm going to be on this train for a long time. Oh my god, sky. We are here in downtown Long Beach. Blue line getting down to Long Beach was very slow, so we'll see if this affects my time. Yeah. Carrying on.
Connect you with Metro 232 towards Wilmington and Beach City.
All right, Norwalk Station, or no, Willowbrook.
must exit and re-enter the station.
Right. Norwalk Station. I've got a little bit of time before the train takes off, so I'm going to try to find a bathroom. Boom. Perfect. A lot of bees here. Okay, that worked out perfectly. And the train's still here. Funny enough, this is actually my first time to Norwalk Station because I've just never had any reason to come here. Aviation Century. Alright, so they catch the K line down to Redondo Beach. Actually, from here you can see the track of the People Mover and the new rental car center that just got finished. Funnily enough, this is another station I haven't been to before, just because I haven't had reason to. In fact, the whole stretch of the K line down from here between LAX and Redondo Beach, I've never been on. This is my first time on it. So, time update, I am now at 3 hours and 53 minutes. Not sure. I think so far so good. Although this is the one transfer that's not really working out for me because I think I just missed the K line going down to Redondo Beach, and the transit doesn't really seem to know when the next one's going to be. So we'll see. We've got a C line going the other way, but that's not what I need. Fun plane watching here, though. Here we go. Redondo Beach. It's so blue. This is a pretty cool station. Blue glass. It's got like a sea anemone in it. That's cool. Alright, heading back up. Going all the way up to Expo Crenshaw now. Like I've just missed my Expo line connection. And yep, it's long gone. I could use the bathroom while I'm here. Speaking of, if you haven't seen what the inside of a throne looks like, this is it. They're actually pretty clean. All right, now heading down to Santa Monica.
following Metro. Eating, drinking, and smoking on Metro trains or stations is not allowed. This is your system, so please help us keep it clean. Jefferson Station.
Connect here with Metro 105 to West Hollywood via La Cienega.
Exit here for
California Science Center, Natural History Museum. Destination is
Atlantic Station, East LA.
Alright, so here's where it's standing now. We're at 6 hours, 37 minutes, and waiting for a train to leave Atlantic so we can pull into Atlantic. I think at this point I'm definitely not making 8 hours, maybe like 8:15 if I'm lucky. There it goes. Okay, we're at Atlantic Station. Tuck ourselves right into the next train.
Connect here with the Metro A line. And remember to tap again to transfer. This is the Metro E line train.
Just missed it. Dang. Well, there's supposed to be another one coming in just a few minutes, so. Well, at least I get a moment to admire my favorite station in the system.
Metro 296 to the LA Zoo. The next stop is
Island Park Station.
stop to
The
go.
next stop is Pomona North Station.
Also, just noticed I'm the last person on the train, which is the first in this whole time. It's so lonely. Sit in isolation all the time. I'll be on the ocean in your eye. Tell up on the mountain, he's a ride. Everyone's famous for a while, so alright, here we go. We're pulling in.
Hold on until the doors have opened. Upon arrival, all passengers must exit the train. Those who wish to continue riding must exit and re-enter the station.
It's over. 8 hours, 9 minutes, 32 seconds. Ooh. Okay, so I'm on the train heading back home. Just some closing thoughts. Funnily enough, that did not feel like 8 hours. I guess it's because I was like constantly moving. But it just felt like a normal trip, just maybe slightly longer. But it didn't feel like an all-day odyssey. But it is crazy how much ground I covered. I went to the coast, back to the coast again, and then like 50 miles inland. I'm not sure if I could have gotten a better time. Most of the transfers worked out pretty good. I think what cost me more time was the slowness of the A line down to Long Beach, and the K line was a little funky. So I think the slowness of that might have cost me an earlier transfer. But otherwise, I mean, I think it was a pretty solid time. Also, I've always believed that the A line going up through Pasadena is the prettiest section of the Metro Rail system. And today, after today, there's no doubt, it was so beautiful seeing all that greenery on that last stretch. Anyway, that was an experience. Peace.
All right, so some reflections. The main thing is that I'm glad that it's done. I've spent a really long time thinking about this and procrastinating on it. Partly it was just finding the time for it. Partly it was working up the nerve to do it. And then I also didn't want to do it right before a new extension opened and the leaderboard reset. I want my attempt to at least stay up on the board for a while. So the main thing I'm feeling is just relief that it's over. I think my time was okay, but not as good as I was hoping. I think the route I picked was fine. The problem was I just had some bad luck with some of the transfers. The big one was Aviation Century Station. I had just missed the K line going down to Redondo Beach as we were pulling in, and I had to wait almost 10 minutes for the next one. Little Tokyo was a near miss. But the next one came in like 3 minutes, so honestly, that didn't hurt my overall time very much. Atlantic was frustrating in the moment because we had to wait for a train to leave and open up a space so we could pull in. But once we were there, the other train took off like 2 minutes later. So, factoring the time we spent waiting to pull in, the turnaround time was actually equivalent to what I spent at Norwalk or Wilshire La Cienega for my train to leave there. There were places where I got lucky. 7th Metro was a very quick transfer. I only had to be there for like 3 minutes. Willowbrook was fine. Wilshire, Vermont was fine. Those were only like 5 minutes each. There were times where I felt like the trains were moving kind of slow, particularly on the A line down to Long Beach. I felt like we could have been going much faster than we actually were, but I don't know if that really affected my overall time very much. If you assume that the D line extension adds maybe 15 minutes of overall travel time to the speed run, then my attempt is equivalent to some of the earlier runs that other people have done. As it stands, I feel like I gave it my best. I'm satisfied. I don't want to try to beat it, but I would like to see someone else beat it because I'm pretty sure that's doable. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'm going to take another opportunity to plug my map, so please buy one. I destroyed a perfectly good copy for the sake of a joke, so I need your help to recoup my costs. And I will see you around. Bye.